numbers out there, and I didn't know this until I actually took over the job, but 20,000 people every year apply to become a naval aviator. For all the various screenings, the physical fitness, the academic, the medical, etc., it gets whittled down rather quickly to about 900 or so folks. From that, they eventually get over to the flight line, and they hit their very first squadron known as primary, and that's where they're actually in the cockpit for the first time. They're also known over there, attrition is their mission. That's typically where it's the hardest because it's kind of a smack in the face to naval aviation. You have fire hose of information. So it's about a 20 to 25% attrition rate from there. They continue through their training. The attrition rate's not that great, but it continues to whittle down that group until there's about 600 or so left. So your sons that are here today, 600 out of 20,000, and that's a pretty big deal. In our society today, we're sometimes that's gonna be great. We're sometimes criticized for maybe giving everybody a trophy. I can tell you that in this program, not everybody gets a trophy. It's a very difficult program, and it's hard to complete. For most of the folks here, it is a lifelong dream, and not all of us actually get to accomplish our lifelong dream. So my hat's off to them. It's been a long 2 years for most of them here completing this program. But just to throw some realism into it, what happens when they actually come to our squadron? And for the Marines, I said this is their third time in a squadron. On day one, they're given a big stack of books. There's actually a few more. There's a lot of electronic pubs here that they're given on day one. And they go through class for about 3 weeks or so. They're tested on the material. You can see it's very small print. It's not Game of Thrones, 50 Shades of Grey reading. It's pretty dry, I'm not going to lie to you. So they read this. Some of it's rote memorization. A lot of it's procedural regulations type things that they have to do. And they can't just remember and take a test on it. They actually have to be able to perform those actions. So they do their ground test, their academics. They then go to the simulator where they learn to apply some of that. Finally, they come over to the flight line. And the flight line's where I meet them as well as my other instructors. Those of you that aren't from South Texas, you can feel outside it's a little brutal as far as climate's concerned. So when you get out there to an aircraft, it's been baking in that nice Texas sun for a little while. So it's hot, but I'm in there and we're sweating, the sweat's pouring down our face, and you're out there for a good 20 minutes before you can even kind of get the engines turning and get that air conditioning on. And even then, when the air conditioning's on the ground, it doesn't work that effective, and it really doesn't work that well in the air when you're doing touch and goes constantly. It's hot. So it's hot. There's jet fuel in the air. It's a new smell to them. It gets them sick. It gets them discombobulated. So the climate and environment's already playing against them. Next, they put a lot of pressure on themselves. As I told you, this is not an easy program. You only get a couple times to kind of screw up and have a bad day. Otherwise, you don't typically make it through the program. So there's a lot of pressure riding on every single one of these flights that they're going to screw something up, they're going to mess something up, and they're going to lose their dream. Next, they have me sitting in the right seat. So, especially the guys that have to fly with me, they get all worried because they're flying with the skipper or the XO, even though we're kind of Santa Clauses when it comes to grading. But we take off. They're flying now. They're trying to operate this aircraft in 3 dimensions, and it's like riding your bike a little bit. But when you first rode your bike, you really didn't know what you were doing, and it took a lot of concentration. And so that's initially what's going on. They're just scope locked on trying to fly this aircraft. Next, you have air traffic control, which is barking at them on the radio. And they're using a completely different phraseology and language. And you've probably heard them say, hey, roger that. And you're like, why are you guys talking like that? It makes no sense. And it's because we train them to talk in the air. There's certain things you say, and there's a certain way you say it. So they have that going on in one of their ears. Next, they have me in the right seat. I'm asking them questions. I'm presenting problems with them. I'll pull a power lever. The aircraft will swerve to the left. It'll descend. They gotta quickly react, gain control of the aircraft, run through whatever procedure's going, analyze what's wrong with the aircraft, and then not forget where they actually are, get back onto a very precise navigational path and get that aircraft on the deck. So that's kind of a quick summation of what it's like to go flying pretty much almost every day, sometimes 6 days a week for these folks. And it's a new thing every day that they gotta learn. So it's a tough program, and my hat's off to each one of them. The final thing, and I've probably talked enough, is I like to give a shout out here to all the parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, families, and friends. I grew up with a great set of grandparents and my mom, and they taught me things like, my mom used to tell me, Arthur, don't stand there with your teeth in your mouth. And I had no idea what she was talking about, and I hated when she'd do that. But essentially she's telling me, hey, if there's something out there and you see it needs to be done, do it. My grandmother, work harder, work smarter, not harder. I used to carry the shovel with the dirt and go back and forth. She's like, use a wheelbarrow, son, grandson, do it right. Quitter never wins. So a lot of values and things were imparted upon me growing up that, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but it made me successful today. Your sons are successful today. And they're not successful because the Navy gave them some great leadership class and they're all of a sudden great leaders and officers. No, they learned how to be successful from all of you. It wasn't me. I just taught them how to fly. So thank you for giving us such a great group of men to train in naval aviation. It is a huge step, and it's going to be a fantastic day. So thank you. Finally, we're just going to go around. It's a very informal process here. We'll do the soft winging. I can take pictures. I'm really good at taking pictures, so no need for one family member to step out if you don't want to. If you don't want to be in the picture. So please enjoy your time here today. It's a busy day. Stay hydrated, please, because it's hot out there. But we'll get you a simulator tours, everything. If you need anything, just grab someone in a flight suit, myself, we can see around, and we'll direct you or help you on your way. Don't mind the gentleman there. But thank you. Appreciate it.